Coach, good morning. Season, unfortunately, comes to an end yesterday, but you get to 10 wins. First of all, congratulations. I know that was the goal over this last few days, and you did it. Why was that important?
Well, it's a rhetorical question to a certain extent.
A little bit, yeah. Why was it important to you, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go out on a strong note. 10-7 is way better than 9-8. And, yeah, I mean, it's just you want it for the players. You want it for the guys to validate a lot of the work that they're doing and feel like you're taking the next step towards the next season and put an exclamation point on this one. And when your goal, you don't want your goals to shift, but when they do, you want to achieve your goal. And so that was our goal for that week. And we accomplished it. And, wasn't exactly how we drew it up, throughout the game, but the guys fought and played to the very end and got a red zone stop. And it was great, and I really respect our guys' mentality and the toughness. And then, we really relied on a lot of depth throughout the game and the guys coming in and stepping up and playing for us and doing what we need to do to go win the game.
News coming out just a few minutes ago as Adam Schefter tweeted it, and so we'll ask you about it. According to him, you guys made the decision to part ways with Ryan Grubb. First of all, is that true?
Yeah, that's true. So we made that decision this morning.
What was the primary thinking behind it?
Well, I mean, I understand people are going to want, everyone wants reasons, and when things happen, it's like, well, you want a laundry list of hey, this happened and this happened. It's like that's not, as much as you want those. It's just it doesn't work like that. That's not the thinking behind it. It's really as simple as just I felt like the direction of our offense was going was different than the vision that I had for our team, and felt like it was a necessary decision at this point. Ryan's a heck of a football coach. We did some really great things on offense this year. I mean, Geno, I think, had a bunch of career highs throwing the ball, and we did some really cool situation stuff. I know Jack's had a great year. So we did a lot of great things. It's just my vision for our offense, I think, is just ultimately was different than where I thought Ryan thought it was going. And so we respect the heck out of him. We wish him the best. These are tough decisions to make. These are really tough decisions to make, but the team comes first and just felt like it was the best for the team.
Mike, if you were to try to quantify what your vision or identity is for an offense, what does that look like?
Well, that's a tough answer. That's a tough question to answer without. I think what I'd like to do is just kind of keep those the conversations really between Ryan and I. I think I owe that to him on all the the nuts and bolts behind what we're doing. But I think it's fair to kind of keep it at that. I think we just needed to go in a different direction, and that's why we ultimately made the move.
It's interesting. Can I just pop in real quick, Salky? One thing that's interesting is he was asked last week, Coach, about kind of what he learned over the course of this season, and he talked about as a play caller and as a coordinator the difference of the college game and the NFL game. And in college, you can attack personnel a whole lot more. In this NFL game, you really have to attack scheme and the different defensive families that are out there. And he even mentioned you in kind of working through that process and how to attack scheme. How do you you lived in both worlds a little bit, right? Mostly the NFL, but you went to the college game. Can you kind of speak to maybe some of that this year of just the learning curve to attack an NFL game versus his college experience?
Well, I mean, I don't want to put words in Ryan's mouth, but from my experience, I think he's right. I think it's also personnel driven as well. It's definitely a matchup league to a certain extent in the NFL. But schemes and structures, you do need an understanding of how everything is built, and that's not something that we were putting on Ryan or expected him to know coming in. That's why I answered this question last week, but to expound on it, that's how we built the staff that we did. That's how we built our offseason. I mean, there's a lot of things we did to get everybody up to speed on what we're going against and things like that. I'm sure that's probably why Ryan brought that up when answering that question. And then, going back to college, man, it was, you needed help from guys that have been in it and gone against these coordinators that understood kind of what their goals were, what they were trying to achieve on a situational basis, The hashes in college make a tremendous difference now. I mean, the game is just way more spread out, and the field is a real deal. I mean, that is a significantly different than into the boundary. I'd say, the college game, from my experience, is a little bit more numbers and angles and space than the NFL game is. So, I mean, we can talk about that all day if you want, but that was just, so point being is like, of course, when you're going to be moving back and forth between different, just not even levels, but different leagues, and you're going to go against a whole completely different set of people, you need help to kind of get up to speed so you hit the ground running.
Just for contrast purposes, if the college game is about angles and space, what is the NFL game then more about?
Well, I think Ryan was right. I mean, he's right in what he said. It's probably more about it is matchups, because now you're talking about everyone has kind of the same pot, and then you've got to allocate resources accordingly. So and if you believe that it's somewhat efficient, then numbers will kind of correlate to how good players are. It doesn't always work that way, but anyway, so people allocate resources differently, but they have the same pot. So now matchups become a part of it, and then just understanding structures and how people react to formations and personnel groups and things like that. I think that's important.
So as you look forward now to make a really important hire, your next offensive coordinator, what qualities will you be looking for?
Well, I mean, we're gonna open it up, and we're gonna do our research and be thorough with it. And we want to be efficient. We want to move quickly, but we want to be smart as well. And we're just looking for the right fit on the type of person that's going to come in and lead our offense. And not that we weren't aligned with Ryan, but definitely looking for alignment and a shared vision about how we want to operate.
Fair to say that Coach Huff was kind of tied to Ryan as well, or everything kind of still in consideration around?
Yeah, it's still in consideration, and I would say it's fair that he's a line coming in, but now he's a Seahawk.
And the last thing for me on this end of it, why the timing this morning?
Just felt like it was best to do it now and move forward. It's never an easy time to do it, but I felt like that was the best decision in the timing, and it gives everybody involved the most opportunity to move forward.
Do you expect this would be the only move, or could there be other coaches that are let go?
I wouldn't call it like getting let go. Right now, we're working through this, and then we'll move forward. And we're always going to be looking to make our team the best possible team we can make. But right now, we're working through this decision.
All right. So now you move into an off season. Your first full off season now as a Seahawks head coach. Other than the offensive coordinator hire, what do you plan to spend this offseason working on? Everything's on the table. It's having. I was just telling the staff, like we were trying to get as much feedback as we possibly can, but how we structure the offseason, how we build our systems, how we practice, all those things we want to do a deep dive into and evolve. We talk about chasing edges. You got to go live it, and that's going to be the mentality. And it's not time yet to do it, but we're going to have a heck of an off season. It's going to be a heck of a plan. We're going to spend a lot of time. It's going to be thorough, and we'll get into the goals and stuff as we get throughout the off season. But I am looking forward to moving, to take this thing to the next level.
Kind of big picture in that way, Mike, and I know it's not even been 24 hours since that game ended yesterday, but if you were kind of in your analytical mind, in linear mind at times, to the way you organize things and look at why you all won 10 games, the fact that you guys got to that 10-win threshold, which usually gets teams to the playoffs, kind of rare that it's not, but if you were to kind of look at some of the key factors that went into you guys winning 10 games this season, the most, by the way, of any first-time head coach in that franchise's organization, what were the components that went into the 10 wins?
Well, I think it starts with the players. We have really good players. So great players help you win games. And I think we got a lot of great players. And I felt like as a team, we stayed together. We evolved. We made some tough decisions to move forward, but we kind of stayed the course. We played some really tough football. I'm proud of like what shows up on tape in all three phases on how we played the game. and then, I mean, there's all sorts of things, like good situational football here, especially at the end of the half. But I think the biggest thing is like the great players. I think we got a heck of a core group of guys that we're excited to work with moving forward, and then just sticking the course, man. I mean, like John Gordon was right about the season being a roller coaster, and you got to stay on it. And a lot of guys like doubling down on your principles, things like that, and guys really buying in to the process. I just really appreciate everybody involved, because if you start to splinter and you start to kind of go wayward throughout the way the season works, then man, it's really hard to finish the season on a strong note.
It's always interesting talking about head coaches from our perspective, from a media perspective. You're talking about scheme and the way players are put in position on the field. You're talking about in-game decision-making, going for it on fourth down, kicking, punting, that type of stuff. And then you're talking about building culture and sort of running this building as its main character. That was, one of Pete's real strengths was This was his building. And we spent a lot of time talking and wondering what it would be like for you. I don't know if you heard this from Tyler Lockett yesterday, more if I could play cut 5 one more time. It sure seemed to speak to a level of buy-in that came from the players in general. This was Tyler after the game yesterday. Tyler.
Besides all of that, man, it's just the fact that everybody on this team wanted to play for each other. They wanted to go out there and they wanted to win. And it makes football so much easier when you know the next man cares just as much as you care. It's hard to be able to get that because in the league you get paid so much money, and so many people could have tapped out and said, you know what, I'm ready for free agency, or I'm ready for the offseason so I could get away from all of this stuff. And the biggest thing that you always hope is to have a team that could be able to buy in, not just when camp starts, because everybody's ready to prove themselves, right? But when you get to this part of the season, when it's November, December, beginning of January, you'll be surprised with how many people usually are no longer bought in. And this team was bought in from the very jump. Even when we were on that losing game streak and fans were going crazy, people were going crazy, it didn't matter. People still bought in, and I think it showed who we were as a team and who we're going to continue to be.
How important is that to you to hear?
Oh, it's incredibly important. I mean, first of all, coming from Tyler, means the world, to hear. That means a lot. It means a lot. And as I'm listening to him talk, I'm thinking about the journey that we had, and we've talked about this on this show. But the amount of faith and that it takes for everyone in the building, Pete did a tremendous job of building this place, and so the goal was to take it and keep building off of what the foundation was here. And but it was we're different people, so it's gonna kind of look differently and sound differently. Everyone, as we start to grow, and so for the people there in the building, to players included, staff, all the people that make it go, EK and his crew, Mo Kelly, all those guys, saying hey, you know what, let's do it. I'm hearing what you're asking for. And I don't know you from Adam, but I'm gonna lock arms and let's roll. Let's make this thing happen. And then players too. The guys that have been here, the guys that Pete helped brought in and develop and all that stuff. I think it's really cool. And our coaches coming from all across from different worlds and life experiences, and getting our players to play for one another, play together, understand the meaning of really what 12-1 is about, the connected group. And backing it up every day with consistency, and that's how you build trust. All those things we've talked about. You're proud that happens. And to me, it's telling me, hey, there's some things that we didn't do well enough, obviously, because we're having this conversation right now. But there are some things that we can hang our hat on, and we feel like we are going in the right direction.
11 months later, what do you feel like you learned as a head coach the most?
Man, I haven't had a fantasy draft of what I've learned yet, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, so Brock, what I would say is I came in with these are all the things that I believe that it's going to take to win. And what I've realized is it's a way less number of things, but they're more important, connectedness, toughness, situational football, development, fundamentals, things like that.
Were there things that means things must have fallen off that list. What sorts of things did you think mattered maybe more than they ended up?
I think that some of those. I think you got to get those things right first, and then the other stuff kind of falls into play. But like you think about it, every detail does matter. How you do anything is how you do anything is how you do everything. So, like trying to make stuff taken to the next level. That again, the chasing edges idea of like we call it making it sweet. You know, whatever your area of responsibility is, like that. If you can handle that type of stuff, that'll manifest itself kind of in those core things. So. But yeah, I mean, just the daily experiences, how to handle stuff, Brock, conversations, things that there's a laundry list of stuff that I know that I want to grow and I want to get better at, and my plans to do that.
You know what I find interesting, and a few of my peers that went from the media into the NFL world, and then listening to Belichick, who went from the NFL world into the media, and he used a word, he was on with McAfee last week and really hammered on the word that you said earlier, alignment. Alignment, alignment, alignment. Owner, GM, head coach, quarterback, players, equipment room, staff, everybody has to be aligned. How big of a challenge is that in the NFL with so many different moving parts in that way?
Well, I mean, you hear it from the probably best to ever do it, so he's right. You have to. I mean, it's a must. It's a prerequisite. If you want to be a championship team, then you have to have it.
Looking forward again this year to this offseason, are there position groups that you would like to see improve?
All of the above.
Everyone.
That was the biggest softball of the year. Yeah, I mean, we all have to take it to the next level. Like everywhere from me to Geno to Leo to our rookies, practice squad guys. Like it's about leveling up, man. You know, that's what the name of the game is. So if we can get a whole host of 90 guys doing that plus coaches, we'll be cooking. Well,
then let me ask you about the two guys you just mentioned, starting with Leo. Brock asked how you got to 10 wins this year. How important was Leo in that?
Well, when I talk about
number?
Great players, I mean, he's one of the first guys that you say. I mean, he's incredibly important. Just the flexibility, how he lets us play. A lot of our coverage structures that we've been able to play later in the season is a function of how well the guys up front played. And so, again, it's all connected. And just been him unable to move different spots, you know, his football intelligence and then, like, his leadership in the building. You know, the stuff Tyler's talking about, keeping us connected, keeping us together, playing for one another. I mean, that's driven by our leaders, you know, and Leo's one of our leaders.
You also mentioned Geno. Does that mean you expect Geno to be back next year as a quarterback?
I got no reason to say no. So I guess, yeah.
What are the next steps?
Dave liked that answer.
He's giggling.
If Salky threw you a softball, at least I get a fastball here. Maybe what are when this ends today, and you'll meet with the press, I think tomorrow. What then are the very next most tangible steps?
Well, first of all, we're going to start our search for ops coordinator. So that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I expect that to start immediately. And then, you know, John and I will meet and we'll be on the same page with Jody and with Chuck and let's kind of set a course of direction and plan of attack and let's go get it. But, you know, there's time to take a deep breath and, like, you know, you can't, all the thoughts don't just come to you while you're just sitting at your desk. You know, so you got to get out and spend time with your family and then come back and go attack it. But all the cadences throughout the offseason, you know, those are being consistent with how we handle stuff. But, yeah, just whatever makes us better, we're going to be chasing it.
This past offseason, with your coaching staff, you didn't have a ton of guys that you had previous relationships with, had coached with, etc. How did that go in terms of the year learning to, you know, meet each other, learn from each other? How was that process this year?
Well, I think we made the best of it. And I thought it was the right decision. I mean, you're trying to find the best people, and like I've always believed that yeah, people that you know and you trust, of course that matters, and that matters tremendously, like building trust because you've already built that. But if you can build that with people and go find the kind of the best people that, that are for your organization and the role that you want, it's hard to believe that it's always going to be like the guy that you used to hang out with like 5 years ago. It's like that happens to be the best candidate. Like, man, what a coincidence. It's incredible. So that was the philosophy behind it. But I think we tried our best. Now, you do have to spend time and build trust, and it's going to take some time to get connection. And we gave it 1,000%. We fell short in some areas, but I can tell you every person up there gave it their absolute best every day, and I'm proud of that.
How much different is that process, though, getting to start at January 6th rather than mid-February?
Well, I mean, the question kind of answers it. I mean, it makes a huge difference, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy that we've chatted about recently has been Ernest Jones, who came over here mid-year. How important was he to the defensive success, especially in the second half of this season?
Yeah, very, very important. I'm sure the reason behind that is his contract situation, and we understand what's going on with it. And I think you just got to trust the process at this point. And I definitely trust that. Trust all the people involved, Ernest and his agent, and our people here, and confident that we're going to see a lot of Ernest for years to come.
With a position like middle linebacker, there's a lot of guys that are capable of doing that. Is it a level of needing the right fit, the right style of good middle linebacker versus just one of the good ones, if that makes sense?
I think that's fair. Yeah, it's a combination of like skill set, just communication skills, how much you're going to put on their plate, leadership styles. What are you expecting from them, kind of on a daily basis, in and out of the building. All those things kind of go into play. But yeah, I think it's fair to say it's different, kind of like different styles for different types of defenses and what they need. But yeah, definitely, man. I think up the middle of the defense. Now I'm thinking corner, but like up the middle defense, I think that's definitely true. Like safety, interior linemen, things like that.
Did you feel like you found that this year by the end of the year that you had the right style of guy
with Ernest
up the middle? Well, really, just all those guys up the middle. But Ernest in particular.
I mean, I think Jonathan Hankins deserves a massive shout out. The guy played great football for us, in kind of an unheralded role, but he really let things fall into place too up the middle, and obviously everyone knows how we feel about Ernest, and then at safety position, and Julian kind of proven to be the guy that we thought he was, and then take his game to the next level, I thought. And then, the emergence of Kobe and the way that he's really grabbed that position and taking control and done a great job with it. I think we're in a great spot.
Hey, last thing for me here, Mike, and I think we did this just about every year for a lot of years with Coach Carroll. Just a chance for you on our show here to say something to the fans, to the 12s out there that were on this roller coaster and ride that was a step forward, that was 10 wins, that was 7-1 on the road.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity. It's they make the thing. I mean, I know we talk about Geno, but this is why we do what we do. It's for the 12s, man. We want to put out a football team that this city and our fans are proud of, and we did that 10 times this year, and 7 times we fell short. And we're determined to deliver the city a winner and a champion, and we wouldn't be sitting here with the optimism that we have without our fans. I'll tell you what, like just interactions that I have with people, like person to person, it's the best, man. Like it gives you so much energy and so much inspiration to go do a great job. So we really appreciate it. We love them, and our mission's to put a championship product out there.
Well, we'll just say thank you for coming in here 17 times over the course of this season.
Only 17?
Well, maybe it felt like more. I don't know. I don't know if this was your favorite part of every week, but for me and Brock, when we were doing one show like this for a really long time, it was a really nice change to meet somebody new and have some very different conversations and learn about the game in a different way. So I'll speak on behalf of Brock and just say thank you to you for coming in and doing this with us every week. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I'll speak for myself. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, my gosh.
This was a blast.
Wow.
You guys do a great job.
Wow, Brock, do you hear that? Unbelievable.
You do great. I mean, like it's. I do appreciate it. Like it's.
We're chasing edges.
I love that.
We're just doing our best.
We got a
over
growth
here.
mentality.
We got to turn things over though to Bump and Stacy.
When's the next? When do we do this next?
Ask Dave. We do it next week if you want. We'll be here. Maybe we'll wait a little while. We do have to get out of here. Thank you again for everything this season, and better luck.